Now,
involved.
I have a question, Professor Stephen. Now, it's clear that you have a vast command of repertoire, that your vocabulary is rich. Did that take years? How did you, I mean, how much is generating ideas from pure theory? Or how much is taking a good idea that you've seen in repertoire and playing around with it?
Very good question. Very good question. There has to be a balance between several different things here. So, yes, knowledge of repertoire is essential for that kind of improvisation because the improvisation is in a particular language, in a particular um, cultural reference, we can even say. So, the more you know about what composers were doing at the time, then you have a richer language from which you can
Can I
draw.
ask a specific question? Like, how much Baroque repertoire do you know? Like, just to give a
So,
ballpark for someone who has no, like, how much would a
this,
great improviser know?
I don't know if it's something that I can answer quantitatively, but it is in my situation. I was always passionate about learning music. But sorry, I now realize that I haven't answered your previous question. I just wanted to put this in
Oh yeah,
context.
go
And
ahead. Sure.
the previous question was finding the balance between what you learn in the repertoire, what you learn about the, let's say, called the grammar of the language, and then the creativity of just being able to create different things.
Hmm.
And this is something that also needs to be practiced to create different versions of the same thing, or to do
Right.
something differently, or to constantly to not repeat yourself. So that's also an important part of it. But then back to your question about the knowledge. Sorry, one more thing about it, because a lot of people focus on the learning and learning the repertoire, learning the theory, but then the creativity also needs to be
Mm,
practiced. So I want to
right.
just to emphasize that this should not be ignored. That this is the flow, the creativity, how you develop ideas, how you come up with new ideas, and
Yeah.
then you try one version, then another. Now back to the question on repertoire. So I will answer it both for myself and then also for the things that I tell
And
students.
just to prime that, I read a story that Beethoven could perform the Well-Tempered Clavier by heart or something like that. And so, I mean, imagine like you, someone like you has played so much music that you kind of have some, you can relate to that.
Definitely that helps to play a lot of repertoire. And yes, it is true. Beethoven learned the Well-Tempered Clavier as a child. His teacher emphasized that, and that definitely helped a lot. Also, it is known that Chopin was practicing Walter Clavier before his concerts. But anyway, back to my own path. I was always passionate about learning music, and I always wanted to learn more and to get to know more repertoire, and listening, reading scores, playing things at the piano. So when I was studying at first piano with my mother, I looked at, okay, what music do we have on the shelf, and I was just starting to read to get to know the different sonatas, different pieces that the composers were writing, and later I was interested in string quartets, so I took from the library the scores for string quartets and then symphonic repertoire, and went to concerts. And so just the process of learning more and a lot, not just listening, but also reading the scores and getting to know the pieces and thinking about questions. For example, if the thing that we just talked about, the harmony, which keys does the composer modulate to? What happens with the chromatic notes? What happens with the structure? So always asking questions about those things. And then, of course, I was also a student officially in different programs. So I took classes and all of that. But I think it comes from really the passion to learn music. And I really wanted to learn music to the end, to understand everything I could about how it works. And in lots of styles and new music also. I was living in New York, and in my 20s, I went to the opera all the time, and I went to new music concerts, and then I kept getting to know the symphonic repertoire. Just learning a lot. And that was even before I did improvisation in the way I do it today. That is, today it's really central to my activities, but that took a while. I was a pianist, I was a composer. But then when I started doing improvisation, then all the other things inform the improvisation.
Right.
So is the knowledge of the repertoire and the study of music theory and the study as a composer, writing operas and string quartets and for orchestra and for the different instruments. That was very helpful when I started teaching improvisation for all the different instruments, and also the compositional mindset in improvisation. So to be
Right.
a composer, I've written 50 or 60 pieces that are fully written uh, and have nothing from improvisation in them, but that helped. And of course, as a pianist, to play the repertoire. So all of those things then inform the improvisation. And this is, of course, other people have other ways of doing things, but at least in my own experience, I found that it absolutely helps to experience music from those different angles so that it informs the improvisation. And then for my students, what I tell them, you want to improvise a saraband, look at the repertoire, play harmonic reductions, look at this, look at that, do all of those things, and then learn what happens with the melodic patterns, with the harmonic patterns, with all of those different things. So this is how you do that particular genre. But even before you do a particular genre, you have to learn the language grammatically. Chords, melodies, there is no way around it.